Hey folks, this is Boost Hungry here, playing From the Depths, a game that is currently available as early access on Steam. Today I will be jumping into the campaign a little bit. If you haven't seen my first video, I go over the designs that I will be using as my starting craft. A combat vessel, a starting fortress, and a mobile construction platform. But I won't go into too much detail on the designs today. So let's jump right in. Let's start up a new campaign. You can see here there's some good difficulty settings. There's the general difficulty modifier, which is your typical modifier. There's the enemy growth factor, which is always good to be able to control separately because some games just can't seem to get it right on how fast the enemy should grow. I do not know a whole ton about the campaign, so I am not going to mess with these. There's also a slider on the resource given by destroying an enemy. So even if you're an experienced player, this might be a good one. This will to leave at an easy level. This says that you'll get 10% of all destroyed crafts back in their resource value. And then there's a separate slider as well for the enemy design difficulty. So I really love a game that lets you customize these, but I don't know enough about the campaign, so let's leave everything default and jump right in. So you load in on your starting fortress, which is very simple, but also a little complex. There's an engine, a control center, some oil drills, some resource collectors, a little oil section, and a turret as well as a radar dish. So it's a little, as well as also a repair and construction center in the back. It's a little much. It's a cool design, but it's resource heavy for what it is. So I'm actually going to scrap both this and the starting ship. You can watch my first video if you haven't already to understand why, and also to dive into the design of the starting craft that they give you a little bit. But in the meantime, let me select the rapier and destroy it. This will give me back, I believe, 100% of the resources that went into its construction. Do not quote me on that. I have no clue. I am just pulling a number that seems appropriate. Um, and I'm going to spend that resources on a replacement fortress. Um, so let me load in that design, but it's a little close, so let me make sure I pull that back. Also, hold on to this craft until it's completely built. This will hold it away until it's completely constructed. Because otherwise the AI of my new fortress will attempt to drive itself into the existing fortress. It won't blow up or anything, it will just be a little weird. So this is a very basic fortress. There's a nice engine on it. Also some oil processors, fuel processors, an AI, and a control section. So, a few more oil drills than the starting fortress comes with, and a few more resource collectors as well. Um, as I mentioned in the first video, I went with 8 of each. I do not know if this is appropriate, but it seems to work just fine. And that's what I read on some forums. So one thing to note is, tab. Um, Let me raise this up a little bit because I don't like it skimming the water like that. So fortresses can go up, down, left, right, basically in any direction. They're kind of, they can do whatever they feel like. And like I mentioned, I guess me setting it to hold on to this until 100% was ignored because now my new fortress is going to drive itself into my existing fortress. And like I mentioned, it's not going to hurt anything. It's just a little weird. And I'm going to have a little bit more difficulty knowing when this is completed. So what has loaded in just now is the resource farm, the crystal farm, sorry, which will take my existing crystal and multiply it. Um, but I look to be about completed. So now I can go ahead and scrap this existing fortress. Wrong button again. So let me select that and scrap that. So what this allowed me to do is to load in my own designs with all the starting resources. And I think I've done a pretty good job of um, balancing the resources. So I will load in my starter craft, which is my combat vessel, and immediately my fortress repair tentacles will begin construction. And I have a dock here, which I can use to hold my new craft in place until it is completed. And your little avatar guy also has, whoops, your little avatar guy also has 2 repair tentacles as well. So if you're ever in a hurry to build something as fast as possible, don't be afraid to jump over and help out. So as I've gone over the design in my other video, this is a very basic design. There's an engine in the rear. Immediately in front of that are some missile turrets. Then will be some AI, a ship wheel, a turret, and some more missiles. I think I did a pretty good job on this. You'll see it in combat shortly. I do plan on diving in immediately as soon as I can. Um, ooh, yeah, so if you stand on something as it's being constructed and something loads in underneath you, you do get launched, which is better than some other bugs I can imagine. Okay, so while I am constructing this craft, let's dive into the diplomacy a little bit. So if you hit F1, you'll load up the diplomacy menu. You can actually see all the factions side by side here. So you are the little player with the question mark, and then everything below that column is your relations with other factions. This right here is a Deepwater Guard. They start out with a negative 27 diplomacy setting towards you. So there's really no reason to not engage them in combat. I do not believe you could improve that setting, nor would you want to. They are your immediate neighbors, and it is a good way to get resources early on by engaging in combat. Um, to give you a sense of the scale of this game, the map is kind of separated into grids. So you start in the lower left corner, and if you zoom out, you can get a sense for the scale of the campaign. Um, I've played the campaign about an hour in so far, just to kind of get a feel for what to expect, and I've only really explored this bit here. And the only faction I've run into was a Deepwater Guard who engaged me on site. So there's a few different maps. This is the standard large-scale map. If you that's with M. If you press E, you get more of a tactical map, which is a much closer map of just your immediate surrounding area, which with information about your fleets and your forces. And you can press N, which is the same scale and seems very similar to tactical. I'm not really sure what the importance of this map is yet. If you haven't gotten it yet, I'm fairly new with this game. I have loaded a few designs, I've messed around with the physics, and I've gotten a hang of some of the concepts. So I'm going to be learning the game along with you. If you already know more than me about the game, feel free to comment and educate me. I'm always open to learning more. So the last thing to load in will be my turret. And once that is done, I will send my ship out and start to exploring the area. So there's some resource nodes designated by these little circles, and if you zoom out and hover over them, you can see information about the zone. So you'll see there's a couple of resources: natural, metal, oil, scrap, and crystal. with growth factors for each resource zone. So you start controlling this zone. I believe there's another zone around here and potentially up here somewhere. That's about as far as I've gotten so far. Um, so I'm going to send my ship up here, kind of work my way around, and kind of clear out the enemy forces. There's like an enemy squadron in each of these zones, a larger enemy base up here, and an enemy fortress here, which is not very well defended. So I'm going to start engaging combat and gather some resources from those battles, and then work to load in my next ship, which will be the Speed Builder. This is a mobile construction yard, which I will send out to nearby resource nodes to capture them and build fortresses on them so I can begin collecting additional resources. So I'm just about done here. The last thing to load in will be, let me relinquish control of my weapons. The last thing to load in is my shield generator, which the AI is controlling. So the AI will turn that on and off as it needs to. Thank you, AI. All right, so here we go. Let's release from the docking port and move out. AI is running away from me. If you hold Q on an object, you bring up this little menu here. If you hit warp, your character will warp into the chair that you have on the craft. And then you can hit tab to pull back and get a more tactical view of the area. So the default AI control is in combat mode. For me to be able to issue commands to move this craft, so if I select my starter and if I zoom out, if I attempt to tell him to go over here, apparently, hey, we'll go listen. All right. If I try and do it from this menu, it will also listen. So I'm completely wrong. Ignore me. I thought you had to be in patrol mode or fleet move mode, but apparently combat mode works just fine as well. So let me stay in combat mode because that seems more appropriate, and set up some waypoints to kind of go and engage targets in this zone to the north of myself. In the various AI modes, you can turn the AI off. On, the AI will shoot, but it will not navigate. So if you want to take control of the direction your ship is traveling without actually having to aim at the target yourself, you can use this. Combat will fully automate the vehicle. Patrol is, I guess, your typical patrol, and fleet move will, I'm hoping, allow you to set up fleets together and have the fleets move as a whole. So I don't yet have enough resources to load in another craft, so there's not a whole lot for me to do. So this is a good opportunity where I would want to potentially speed things up. So here I have the speed controls. I can set the game really slow, or I can go with standard or normal speed, or I can actually pull everything out of play, which will open up some other speed options. So when I do that, you'll notice that everything is replaced with just kind of a framework of where the vehicle is. This will reduce the processing and graphics strain on your system. It's also good for objects that are nowhere near you, so that the game doesn't need to worry about how they are interacting with the environment. You can pull them out of play and they will operate as normal. Without using system resources. And it also allows you to increase the speed of the objects. So I can navigate up here. I'll leave it at 4 times because I am expecting to run into the enemy rather quickly. So once I run into the enemy, I will see where they are as well as a circle around them. If we encompass each other with our circles, then we will blockade each other, which I don't fully understand yet. Something to do with being unable to retreat at a battle. and potentially something to do with how fortresses behave. Um, that's typically what I expect Block Date to do, but we will find out later, hopefully. So in the meantime, I will actually click the battle itself, and you'll notice we'll get a little 3-second timer here, but because I'm in reduced speed, it's a longer timer. So if I go back, we can engage in battle sooner. So this is kind of like an instance battle. There's a setup phase where you can prepare your forces. So I can move my forces anywhere within this circle that I have here. I want to kind of run parallel to the enemy and shoot them from afar. So I have my AI of my ship set up in a way where I'm going to keep distance and engage the foe from afar because I'm a fast, small craft with quite a bit of armament where I can take out my enemy rather easily as long as they are not nailing me. So I'm ready to battle, and you notice here there's a slider. You can limit the number of blocks. Think Minecraft when you think of a block. Um, how many blocks load into battle. This is a rather small battle. They have 1.6k blocks. I have 1.4k. I am a single vessel. They are a number of vessels. So this is a small battle, so there's no reason not to load everything in. But if I did want to reduce this, you'll actually queue up ships and they'll enter battle one by one as things are destroyed, or if you pull them out of battle, your next craft will load into battle. And you'll notice the little bars above our forces. P is for player, DWG is the name of their faction. Um, it will scale based on the size of the fleets. If you or the enemy has a much larger fleet, no matter what you set this slider at, you will still enter the battle with proportionally more blocks or ships than the enemy. I also don't know what would happen if I set it like half when I have a single craft. Maybe I would load in and they would load in half their fleet. Maybe that could be an advantage, but I don't need to do that. Nor would that be as fun. So let's jump into battle here. So if you hit tab, you'll always come back to your character. Hit tab again, and you'll pull back. And you will be in a relative view. So your camera will move with the ship. If you would like to have a free-flowing camera, just open the tactical view and close it again. I don't know if that's a bug, but it's kind of useful in the sense that now I can have a free-flowing camera. So the enemy is made up of a few flying craft and a single naval vessel, it looks like. And this should be no problem for my missiles to take out the faster of the flying craft and the balloons in the back. So it's nice to be able to depend on my AI and not have to control anything. My little starting vessel here is pretty nice. I think it'll get me pretty far. Only time will tell though. There's one down. So you notice it slows down a little bit during big explosions. That's when you hit like fuel or ammo storage and like that, exactly. And you basically can decimate the craft in a single shot. That's actually a setting. You can turn that off, but one, it's kind of cool. And two, I believe it's probably better on your system. So, oh, there's two naval craft back here. But these are very small and they can't even shoot at me yet. I got these little itty bitty tiny cannons, which won't even come close to hitting me. So I make short work of these early forces, and I hope to be able to experience a bit of a challenge in a bit. But it is quite beautiful. I have the game on graphic settings at fastest. because I was trying to record a video earlier today and my game crashed in the first battle. Probably more so to me being recording than me actually playing the game. So I won't discredit the game at all. So there's only one force in this area, so I will consider this area liberated and move on to the next area, scouting a bit as I go. Again, pull all forces, speed up the game. I do have enough crystal, so let me slow down the game a bit for a second. And I can select this and warp in. It's a great way to travel across the map. But if I actually want to show you something, I need to play the force. So, these crystal farms here, like I mentioned, take my existing crystal and multiply it. A good analogy would be if you've ever seen those elementary school or middle school style science projects where you can take like quartz crystal fragments and grow quartz out of it. It's that same kind of concept. So I thought that was pretty intelligent on the game developer's part to kind of be able to harvest crystal in that manner. So I have 258 crystal, which is enough to load in my speed builder, but I'm a little ways away from actually needing it, so I'm better off leaving my crystal in these farms to multiply. But with that being said, I will be making my way. I'll go over here, and then I'm going to head down here, which is where the next resource node is. But let's pull everything out of play. Warp into this forest here. And go find some more things to shoot at. And there we are. So this is probably a similar force style. I believe we're going to be running into the same type of things, except this is a much larger force, 5,000 blocks. So I may take control of my navigation a bit and to make sure I stay away. I have some good range. I believe this is a 1,000 meter, kilometer, probably meter, diameter circle. So I believe if I set the far, I should be just about at the edge of my range, which is just over 1,000 units, let's call it. So let's jump in and see. My AI is going to attempt to, okay, so I'm out of range here. My AI will not attempt to shoot until I'm within, there we go. I believe it's 1,800 for my turret and about 1,250 for my missiles. So my craft will attempt to close distance with the targets until about similar range for my missiles, and then it will navigate on an 80-degree. Yeah, my missiles are having trouble because I'm going straight at the target. So once I get close enough, my ship will turn like it is now, and now travel at an 80-degree angle from the targets, which will allow my rear missile systems to target the enemy. In the front here I have heat-seeking missiles, so they're not powered by the lasers. And I wonder if I lost an AI core, because this missile system here is not doing anything. And sorry to the folks at home if you would like to just see things blow up. This doesn't seem to be too much of a challenge right now. So let's take a look in here. I can't imagine anything in here was damaged. Oh, this is on the wrong channel. There we go. How did that happen? So these wireless receivers have wireless channels, so you can have multiple networks set up within your craft. And for some reason, this one was on a different channel. So in the meantime, I have destroyed everything in the air. I have just taken out one of the naval craft, and I am making short work of everything else remaining. And let's see what's left. Let's follow the missiles in. Boom. And there goes one, and the missiles immediately begin to target the final remaining craft. And boom, there goes the last one. So you notice there's this little animation here. It says 2 damaged, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That is the point when the ship will be removed. There's a few, and also here, see the relationship summary. I have already added another -10 to my standings with a DWG, which I am not ashamed of. But like I was mentioning, there's a few things that will signal the end of the battle. One of which is the ship is too damaged, another of which is if you actually destroy the AI core, the ship will no longer be able to function. So you'll notice I'm heading in this direction, and you can actually see in the distance, well, you could, a circle. That circle was a resource node that I'm heading towards. I believe it's actually behind. So you can see there's a landmass here because my pathfinding refuses to go straight. So the game knows where landmasses are and will pathfind accordingly. So I'm going to head this way, which is about where the resource node is. And I may run into some more trouble along the way. Nothing I am afraid of with my super awesome design. But in the meantime, let's speed things up a bit. Actually, before I do that, let's slow things down so I don't get myself into trouble. Warp into my fortress here and actually build my next craft. I think I have enough resources, and I'm right about to the point where I'm going to be expanding. So let's load in my speed builder. Grab onto it with my docking clamp and let that build. So if I pull these forces out of play, they will continue building each other. Well, my one force will continue to build. My other force, I believe. So this percentage should go up. In the meantime, let's warp in over here. At least I thought that was the case. Maybe not. Alright, maybe I need to understand the game a little better. Home Sweet Home. It's a nice little name that I did not give it. It's really a shame. Maybe it's because I'm using this tractor beam docking station and not a true construction module. So I can look into that a little more. Yeah, so this is a basic design. It is a super fast, little tiny wooden boat with a docking station and repair tentacles. So that docking station may give me the same problems that this docking station is giving me with regards to pulling out of play. But it did not take long to build, so it's not the end of the world. Let's pull these forces out of play. Um, and let's go find something else to shoot at. Oops, I'm spilling wine on my... yes, I'm spilling wine. 1 second. So this is the notification for the fleet blockaded, and it will let you know if the enemy comes nearby and starts blockading your fleets, and will give you the option to pay attention to it and figure out what you want to do. In this case, I had meant to engage first, but real-world circumstances prevented me from doing so. But not the end of the world, we can do so now. So what it would do is it will pull you, it'll reduce the speed down to 0.1 and pull you into the area, and then you can decide what to do. I don't believe you can run when that happens. You may be stuck there, but in this case it doesn't matter because I'd like to blow them up. They maybe have engaged me, but they will regret that. Again, I like range, so let's start near this back island, and I'll do a nice rotation around. This is an smaller force than me. I believe this may actually just be the fortress. And the idea of a fortress may sound difficult. It's really not. So let's unlock my camera and go take a look at what we're shooting at. So they're shooting back, but they are clearly not very accurate because they're not hitting me. Whereas my shots are also not the most accurate right now. But should make short work of this. I have a shield generator and you don't. And now my missiles have come into play. They take a little longer to travel, but they make short work of the defenses. So there was a single fortress and a single naval craft. And it does not appear that this naval craft has any guns other than a rotating, I'm going to call that a ram. I don't think that's meant for propulsion. So this is the first resource node that I have captured, well, destroyed, and I will build my own fortress here. So let me just make sure I didn't take any damage. My nice little reflector shield in the front does a great job of pointing at the enemy, and I seem to have come mostly unscathed. So I'm going to now take... This is what I mean. This is what I meant before about the AI. So I am unfortunately unable to tell him to move because of his AI stance. You can only give a force move when the AI is in patrol or fleet move mode, or the force is out of play. So let's switch to patrol mode and come over here, because I believe there may be some enemy here. And also, let me grab my speed builder. And yeah, maybe I need to play that to get up to full speed. So the game needs to know the speed capabilities of a craft before it will before it will move at full speed in out of play mode. So it's always good to just make sure the game knows that. AI. Yeah, fleet move mode. There we go. Alright, so yeah, I can go about 20 meters per second with this craft. It's not the most stable because it's so light. And the AI likes to make this little wiggle motion. I don't know if it's smart and that's being effective in any way, but it likes to do that. So let's pull these forces out of play. Head over here. What's going on over here? So yeah, as I've seen in previous campaigns, they seem to be coming to defend. So let's engage in battle. And once again, let's move back out of range. I'm not afraid that they have slightly more fleet than me. This shouldn't be a problem. This should be very similar to the previous battles. Might help if I was over there. Luckily this ship will be happy to engage on its own. But my AI is not in combat mode, so you are sitting duck there. So my rear missiles are guided by these lasers, but my forward missiles are guided by a one-turn mechanism. They have on board the missile systems a system that will send them in the direction of the enemy, and then after which they will use infrared systems to lock on to a heat signature and guide themselves to a target. So similarly, everything is being destroyed. This is an interesting little craft. They seem to like balloons and everything. I'm not even sure if there's any... Oh, maybe there was. Maybe this has already been destroyed, but I'm not really sure the offensive capabilities of these craft. These are like little floating pirate ships. Yeah. They don't last long enough to get within range if they have a good range. Ooh, those missiles decided to make a turn at the last second. Yeah, so my missiles don't do as well against the naval craft as you're noticing. I'm not sure if it's my heat-seeking missiles. Maybe there's not a large enough heat signature on this craft, or my laser guidance systems are not able to effectively lock onto something below their own horizon. But they eventually do connect, and this leaves me with a single craft. So these do have offensive capabilities, but they're just too small and ineffective against my range. So I'm able to take these craft out before they even get within firing range. I'm not sure they fired a single shot at me. So I do hope that we are given a bit more of a challenge sometime soon, because this is just a little too easy. Let's pull everything out of play. Accelerate more. Why don't you hold up a bit, because I'm pretty sure there is enemies over here. And you are not well suited for that. Let's see. Yeah, see, at faster speed, you will kind of lose track of things if you're not careful. But that's okay, because that is what I want to do anyway. They read my mind. Nope, I didn't really change. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so these things, I didn't adjust my range, so these things are able to take some shots at me. But again, this shouldn't be too much of a concern because my shield will do a good job of protecting my craft. Especially as I start running away, I'll end up protecting my missile systems in the rear. Yeah, these flying craft are just too easy of targets. It doesn't take a whole lot to send them crashing to the ground. Interesting. So my tactical view is able to zoom in. I pressed E and I'm in tactical mode. And I'm actually able to see what I'm targeting. So I'm learning something new by accidentally pressing a button. Yeah, so if you press E while in battle mode, apparently you get some additional information. So that clears out this region, which now I can take this guy and send him back over here. And send him back over there. And I will be able to build my first fortress. Well, my second fortress, if that makes any sense. So let's see. I have a lot of resources down at the bottom here. Basic fortress won't take much to build. I'm wondering if I can actually start building another starter craft. But I am not in the mood to do any math, so I'm not going to take that chance. It won't take long at 10 times speed to come over here. And I'm going to kind of just cover this area. So I've never seen the enemy kind of encroach on my space, so I'm not too concerned. I know there's an enemy base up here, which I will go and attack next. But let me just kind of cover this area. Actually, in the meantime, I should just do a little round. So let me warp to this force. Speed builder, plagues, Okay, so turn the AI off on this craft. He's just gonna run back and forth all the time. Alright, so stick around here. Let me load in a basic fortress. So in this case, I don't need the dock on the back because I now have the speed builder with me, so I don't need to spend, notice the crystal difference between, the resource difference, especially in crystal, between these two. They're the same except for this other one has a dock in the back for building ships. But with my mobile builder, I don't need to spend that extra resources. So what happened? Okay, so there it is. And I also can't select a fortress. So yeah, I am going to need to revisit the use of this tractor beam versus something else. In the meantime, let's actually take a look. So this is the build menu. If you have never seen this before, I will not go into detail on this in this video. But what I will go into is MISC, and I'm using the docking station. I'm wondering if it's a sub-vehicle spawner that would be more appropriate for my purpose. But I saw some options on that talked about like max number of sub-vehicles and like automatic building, and that's not what I'm looking for on these. I'm looking for manual build processes. we have the new fortress being built. Let me raise this out of the water and set it to work. So right now I have the oil drills and resource collectors going. Next to warp in will be the crystal farms. And you can see that I actually have a larger growth factor in this zone than my starting zone, which is quite nice. I should have an excess of resources. And my AI for my fortress will take over on itself and move itself within the center of this resource node. So let's head back over to my original fortress. And let's attempt to build a second starting craft, which will be my first successful second ship in a campaign. So grab onto this vehicle, hold it a ways out. Yeah, not too far. All right, and otherwise, let's go back to my first vehicle and head into battle. But as I unfortunately learned, I am unable to pull these. So let's see. So the starting craft is building. So if I pull everything, my starting craft is no longer building. So I have clearly done something wrong because I know I read somewhere that it will work in that sense. But no harm done. That's fine. I can leave these in play while that builds. So here's a nice shallow area. So if I had a larger craft, there may actually be concern about this. But that is not really a concern of this craft. I believe the AI will stick to water that is 10 meters deep, which I'm not sure if this area falls within that category. Might be why my vehicle is traveling slowly. So let's take manual control and gun it. At full speed, I actually glide across the top of the water, so I'm really not concerned. Let me just get around this island so I can shoot at whatever's around the other side. A nice peaceful trip along the water. I wonder if there's any trees. There might be some trees over there. This is just a little sandy island. Not a whole lot to it. So I've been focusing mainly on naval craft, but there's also you can do some complex stuff and actually build submarines that are able to maintain depth, as well as you've already seen, some flying craft, both things that kind of float and hover, helicopters, planes, jets, a whole number of options. You can also even build spacecraft. There is space in this game, so there is a lot for me to get into. But I've only delved into this thus far. So what you're seeing in the distance are the boxes of enemy vehicles. They are not loaded in until I actually engage in combat. You can actually see a lot further than what your map vision is. So let me head in here. My goal will be to engage the fleet. doing? I'm hoping you're just turning around. Yeah, there you go. All right. My goal will be to engage the fleet and then head over and take out the structure. So I believe that's a base off in the distance, judging by the larger squares. And that's a fleet, judging by the small squares that are up in the air. There may be a combination of both. Some may be, but before I do that, let me check on my other new ship, which is still being built. And I have run out of metal and scrap. So I'm very glad I did not start building that until I have built my other fortress. So that will kind of hold in there, and we'll continue building until I have the resources, which I'm assuming these coming battles will certainly give me everything I need. So this should be a much bigger test of my ship's capabilities. I may take some damage. I may lose the campaign all in one shot here. Let's find out. Yeah, so there's the fleet. I can see it. And now I can engage it. So let's do that. Alright. So this is going to be a little more difficult. So let's pull back out of range. Let's load in everything. See, this fleet is 7K blocks. My fleet is the single ship of 1.4K. So let's see if they can take me out. I do not believe they can. Alright. AI is in combat mode. Let me not go directly at this massive fleet. And instead, I'm going to take manual control. And I'm going to send full speed. So I can take manual control by turning the AI to on. Alright, well that seems to work. So now my water drive is at full capacity. I'm running parallel. Some of their faster aircraft will close distance with me. They have closed enough. Just enough. Unless there's something wrong with my weapon systems again. Nope. Okay, yeah, so they were just on the cusp of my range. So only one of my missile systems was beginning to target. That is how close to the edge of my range they are. But yeah, so I'm going to use the enemy AI against them. Let their fastest ships fly at me to their death. Not a single ship has even taken a shot at me yet. And I've taken out, I believe, 3. And that looks like a 4th. And a 5th. So I will be gaining, oh, wrong button. I will be gaining a lot of resources from this. So I now have 719 crystal. A lot of wood. Only a bit of, only 400 metal and 650 scrap. Did I run out of ammo, or? Yeah, it looks like I'm about running out of ammo. So, I do have ammo processors on this craft. So I am able to generate new ammo on the fly. But my turret can only hold so much ammo, and once it runs out... Oh, what is going on here? Oh, I'm taking damage. Okay, so yay. Maybe not yay, but interesting that they are giving me a challenge. Whoa, except yeah, now I'm gonna have problems controlling my craft because I have lost a propeller. But I believe everything I've taken out so far was really the only thing that can give me challenge. Ooh, except he's still around. Come on, shoot that thing. Shoot that thing. Sorry, it's kind of hard to control both direction. So my craft is set to not engage targets that are close by. So let me take manual control of those guns and see if I can take him out. Oh, well, that seemed okay. Cool, that worked. My boat is still doing circles. Let me wonder, let's see how good the AI is at controlling a ship with one propeller. And as I mentioned, the slowing down during big explosions is a setting. You can turn that on and off. I don't necessarily recommend turning it off. I don't know how well the system would handle, especially my laptop. I do have a gaming laptop, and I am running at 1080p instead of 4K. But even still, there's a lot of physics going on in this game. And it does appear. Ah, my little guy has repaired my propeller. So that will give me the advantage I need to finish this off. So let me unlock my camera and go watch these last few ships blow up. Yeah, so this guy has slightly bigger gun. Not the largest caliber, but those barrels will make it a little more accurate. But nothing that can really penetrate my craft, especially with the speed of my craft. You saw the maneuverability. They're unable to keep up. Anything that does predict my travel gets deflected or absorbed. And this is only wood, so it's not the strongest thing in the world. There's also metal and alloys, both of which are stronger than wood. Alloy is also more buoyant, while metal is obviously heavier. And there goes the last or second to last? Second to last. 3, 2, 1. And destroyed. And same thing. And destroyed. So, that was the biggest test that I have come across so far. Let's turn off my AI. Sit idle. Well, stop the craft. Sit idle for a second. And assess the damage. So, my avatar is able to repair, as I mentioned. So I was able to repair that rear propeller on the fly, which helped give me an advantage. And you'll see that my ammo... See, another poor design on my part. These ammo boxes are not connected to the firing pin. So, a couple things to note. Nothing is perfect, but these other crates are slowly, 57 under there, 62. So these ammo boxes, which are connected directly to the turret, are refilling themselves. And I do have ammo processors in the back and ammo crates underneath. So these ammo crates will store ammo and will help to transfer it to the turret. But in combat, they don't do a great job of allowing the turret to continue firing at max speed. But I do not believe... So that was the fleet, which was going to be the bigger challenge in this area. So, let's turn the AI back on. And head in to, let's see, yeah. That area somewhere. Head in and take out whatever that is. So this tactical view isn't just a top-down view. It can be. It's whatever direction your thing is pointing. So, while traveling, you can point it in the direction of the horizon. Gives better directions. That is very good to know. But before I engage, let me slow down a bit. And I'm assuming my starter craft is still not complete. What is going on here? Oh, because when you go into combat, everything automatically gets pulled out of combat. So if I play that back into play, it will start to build at a slow pace. But unfortunately, I'm about to engage here. So let's try out the blockade feature. Hey, what happened? Where'd he go? So, my starting craft is building at home. My second starting craft, that is. My first starting craft is approaching the enemy targets. I ran out of metal again, so I apparently did not gain enough resources from that battle. So regardless, I still need to engage again. So let's do that. I don't know. These seem to be land structures of some kind. I'm back at home. So let's see how this goes. Alright, so let's load everything in and begin battle. What are we up against here? These are certainly structures. I guess they're just part of the campaign. I don't think I have any reason to build structures. Especially not ones that look like typical houses. It's quite cool though. A couple of little beach bungalows with some doors. good design, good detail. A little windmill for power, which my ship seems to like to target. Might be heat signature coming off of this. I like the spikes on top. That's a nice little touch. Yeah, that's an antenna. If this had a dish on it, it would allow for vision of the area. I think it's more just for aesthetics in this case. So are there actually AI in these? Or are these just kind of structures? Ah, so there's fuel processors. That will help. I can hit those. There must be AI mainframe somewhere in this structure. Yep, and there it is. So yeah, that's the goal, to destroy the AI mainframes. That is what my ships are targeting currently. Yeah, so you may get the feeling that missiles are kind of OP. They are very effective at the early game. I think they're a good addition to have. I don't think they're a replacement for turrets. I've never tried lasers. Oh shit, what are you doing? Why are you going straight? Yeah, so my missiles are not doing the best job because the laser designator is having trouble getting sight. So let me help line these up a little better. Yeah. So you notice as I destroy AI mainframes, my targeting will switch. So it likes to target specific components. There's actually a specific AI card I have in my craft that allows that, and I can specify some details about those components, I believe. But it will target AI mainframes, it will target heat signatures, it will target craft with a lot of weapons, it will target craft based on the size of the craft. So you can have different craft in your fleets have specific purposes. And you can set up your guns to target specific things as well. So if I had a larger craft and I had sections, I could have AA turrets, I could have rockets that target... so now I'm at war with Deepwater Guard. They did not like that. But you can have specific weapon types suited for targeting specific things. Planes very easy to take out with certain things. So yeah, I'm not really sure what that was, if that was an objective of any kind. But I should have enough metal now to finally complete my starter. Because this is not a very... not a very resource-heavy craft. Still says 95% complete. Yeah, yep. Still building. And still out of metal. Need more metal. Uh, which I can get from combat. So I guess good to know. Metal is actually the most scarce resource at this point. I do not believe there's any way for me to build metal uh, out of other materials. But let's take a look. So one thing I know is that I can actually press the right buttons. There are resources. Here we go. There's a resource gather and ammunition processor for supply pump. Supply pumps allow transfers of resources to and from vehicles. So this will like transfer ammo, transfer scrap. Scrap can be used to repair vehicles. There's scrap crates which can store scrap, and scrap smelters which will turn natural resources. The scrap melter burns natural resource to turn metal resource into scrap resource. Well, I don't want to turn metal into scrap. I'd like to turn wood into scrap. But there's no way to gather scrap, gather metal. I mean, to create metal from other resources, which is what my hope was. So I am reliant on these resource gatherers, which are running at 100%. But this zone does not have much metal. And this zone is running out of metal as well. These numbers are going up and down. Why aren't these numbers going up and down? So these are running, and now these numbers are going up and down. Either I'm not fully understanding forces in play and out of play, or forces just behave a little differently, because it's kind of around 140. So I'm going to assume that forces out of play are still gathering resources, and it's just maybe more estimating those resources. So here I seem to be going about 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry if you don't mind me doing an experiment real quick. Let me pull these forces out of play. Here, the metal stops at 137. And my resource count is like 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. And that seems slower. Play. 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that is definitely going faster. So there is something I'm not understanding about the in-play, out-of-play situation. But my starter is just about complete. Yeah, I'm able to depend on my resource gathering at this point in order to complete this. Let's see, what is it I'm still building? I have my barrels. I know I could jump into build mode to get a better sense and to even explode my ship. Yeah, so I am still constructing components of my turret. Although, as we have proven before, um, this is not actually working correctly, not connected directly to the firing piece or autoloaders. Yes. So that does still need to build for a bit. But I am going to call it a night here. I hope I wasn't rambling too much, and I hope you guys enjoyed and got a sense for the campaign. As I mentioned before, ooh, maybe I won't call it a night just yet. So let's see. What are they doing? So, I am blockaded, and they are going to engage me in battle in 100 seconds. I don't think this craft is going to get back there in time, nor do I know what to expect from this fleet. Hmm. 3 flying craft. Fairly large sections. I got 60 seconds. 55, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, and prepare for battle. So I can add, okay, so I was able to add this craft to the battle. And I was able to move him quite a ways into battle. Now let's see, what else can I do? I want to remove that fleet from battle, and I want to remove, so I can control what goes into battle, because neither of these will be helpful in battle. And they are engaging me, so now the GTI, who is a faction I have not engaged before, has just attacked me. And I don't know why. I did nothing wrong to you. And I have my one little craft here against 3 airships. But the good news is I was able to get back in time to defend and was able to pull my other forces out of battle. So I have a chance. Let me make sure I know what I'm doing. I think my can't really go that way. Alright, well, let's see what happens. Let's begin. Wrong buttons. Ah. There we go. Okay. Alright. AI. Ooh, they are... Wow. Okay, I've lost my AI. Haha, cool. Okay. And I'm dead. So, the campaign is not nearly as easy as you might think. So let's see, can I slow this battle down so I can get a glimpse of what's going on around me? Nope. I have lost my craft without even getting a chance to really get a good look at them. So they were... Well, I'm guessing that was them. Let's see. Grey Talons and Player. Twin Guard and Player. So they are seeking reprisal. I don't know why they are seeking reprisal. Reprisal, whatever. So, that was quite interesting. So they still have... Did I lose all my forces here? Yeah. So, I was able to pick and choose which forces entered the battle. But, by losing the battle, I have lost all my forces. Though I surprisingly seem to have get the resources from those forces back. So I have been pushed back to my starting area, and I clearly need to reconsider my capability of fighting the enemy. But I have resources to build other ships. I can maybe build a second starter ship, see if I can defend my area. Maybe I can reclaim this resource node. But that will be for another time. In this case, I will save the game as firsties. And I will see you guys at a later time.